Courtside. Look
There's
at Bobby.
Jimmy.
And look at Jimmy. Look at Zuckerberg.
Not courtside, around the corner.
Check out Zuckerberg. Yeah.
Plenty of people here. So
Bobby, you got loge seats tonight, dude?
Yep, we got Sherrod by my side here. Great night here at the Garden.
Is Josue gonna post up right behind you like he did me at the finals?
Well, only time will tell. But let me say,
No,
I was gonna wait till we get some more people in the room here, but I think there's enough. What more can you say? Phenomenal game from the Celtics. Well deserved. We haven't used that word in a while, have we? We haven't gone to use that word in a long time.
Less than a min.
What else can you say? That was incredible. I obviously picked Philly in this game. I thought the Celtics were up against it due to Embiid, due to a pretty talented Sixers group. And the Celtics took the punches midway through this game, built an early lead, extended a late lead. I thought scrapped together some good defense despite foul trouble from Horford. You had Noah Vonleh stepping up off the bench, which was completely unexpected for me. I think a few of you guys liked him coming into this game, but that was great. Tatum and Brown, I think, as good in tandem as we've ever seen them together. And this offense that we loved in the preseason just flowed right into this game. Pace, pace, pace. They ran the Sixers off the floor.
So that's what amazing. This is what's amazing to me. That pace has been preached for the last three coaches, but nobody could execute it. No one could get them to do it. And you could see from the preseason all the way through that the second they get the ball on a miss, they're gone. Even when they get it on makes, they're trying to get up the court every single time. The ball is not sticking in anyone's hand at any point. It's like exactly what every coach has been trying to get them doing. We've been clamoring for them to do this entire time, and they're just doing it. And again, it was just preseason early. They did it all night tonight. How many times did you see the ball sticking somewhere or them walking it up the court all night long? I can't recall a single instance.
They were out in transition quickly. Fast break point, 24-2 to the Celtics. I mean, that is unbelievable to have a discrepancy that wide.
They ran Philly into the ground. They did. Philly was huffing and puffing.
And you know what?
And they couldn't keep up.
I tweeted it. I think it was my only tweet of the game. That new rule.
Oh, great!
No take fouls. That's gonna be a game changer for a team like the Celtics that want to run, that have young guys who can get up and down the court, and it's gonna hurt other teams that have guys like James Harden who are susceptible to turning the ball over. And I mean, that's something that I don't think many people change, but we saw it on a number of occasions tonight. A turnover, Celtics get out in transition. I mean, Jaylen Brown in transition tonight was unbelievable. I mean, that's not a surprise. We've seen him.
He started slow
use
too.
His athleticism. Yeah, we've seen him use his athleticism for years now. But like you said, Bobby, the way these two guys, Tatum and Brown, came out tonight, they both finished with 35. Another. Either way, they both had unbelievable performances, and I thought Brogdon was awesome coming off the bench for them tonight. Just really kind of setting that second unit. I mean, everybody contributed in a.
They win the rebounding battle in this one too.
Did I get cut off?
Yeah. No, you're good.
Did I freeze or was I just lying then? But anyways,
no. Well, and I mean, what's funny is you're right. It was Tatum. Tatum got off to the quick start. He hit that three early. Usually, totally the opposite. Brown was a little cold early, and Brown picked it up late. We'll talk about it. Early and often. There's a bunch of different things that happen here. We're going to talk about Brogdon impact. I think it was profound. I think, even guys who didn't light up the box score played significant roles like Horford and Smart tonight. But you start with the stars. Tatum pitched a perfect game tonight. If you could bottle this, reproduce it, and it's not just the shooting. He was perfect. He made every right read in the half court. His defense was ridiculous all night long. He was rebounding everything, getting the ball out of his hands quickly to get it out in transition. It was unreal. I mean, it was a near perfect game. And I swear I was in the middle of typing a tweet about how well behaved he'd been all night long, because he'd just gone to the basket. Looked like he drew some contact, didn't get a call, got called for the offensive actually, and then hit the deck. And that's normally one where it's throw the hands up and go. Nothing. He just got up and then he went down. And then the poor guy friggin' complains on the Horford foul that wasn't a foul. And what's funny there is Horford's reaction was 3 times more demonstrative. Horford's jumping up and down, screaming about it, and Tatum just threw his arms up and he got the tee. I didn't think that was fair, so I'm not going to nitpick on that.
It's not fair.
Played.
But John, it was your concern. It was your concern about Tatum, is that
they're going to flag him. Guy. Yeah.
But how about Joe?
They're looking out for it. It's part of their report.
Yeah. Joe comes right away with the challenge and wins it, and I thought he was tremendous tonight as well. Lineups, rotating guys in and out, working through foul trouble, going small for moments, and then rotating out of it when he saw it was slipping. Like, he was quick with the pulls. Hauser played a minute first half, gone. Second half, they have that lineup with no Brown and Tatum. They start to slip just a little bit. Boom, Brown's back in and goes on that run to start the fourth. So rotation's great. The Vonleh card I thought was an effective one despite a shaky first half. So passing marks for Joe, too. I don't think Joe did much of anything wrong in this game, and they pretty much responded to every Philly run. Whether it was
that
Tatum
was what was
steals,
impressive.
Brown with the start of the fourth. Yeah, Philly could never finish a comeback.
They won non-Tatum minutes. You had a couple of moments in the game, certainly one, I think, late third into early fourth, where they played a lineup without Brown or Tatum, which is pretty risky and a pretty ballsy thing for Mazzulla to do, and he did it in his first ever NBA game. That's the kind of thing that if that blows up in your face and you lose that game, people will be like, dude, what are you doing? Don't you know you don't sit both these guys at the same time? Nobody's ever done that. It's unheard of. He did it, and they hung in there, and it was fine. He did everything right. Like, I mean, if Mazzulla was a question mark coming into tonight, I mean, his stock went way up for me tonight after this game. And I know it's one game. Of course. But everything looks good when you shoot 58% from the field, and you go out next game and you shoot 38%. Yes, you'll feel a little bit different. But again, all of that stuff, holding off the runs, the pace, ball never sticking in anybody's hands, just buying into whatever philosophy all night long. It was incredibly impressive. Bring in Sherrod as well, who is here. What's up, my man? Don't have your audio yet, Sherrod. Let us know when you're good. In the meantime, Jimmy, what stood out to you outside? I know Brogdon is going to get a lot of run tonight for his contributions, and that's your boy.
I love Brogdon.
Sherrod's good now.
Oh, Sherrod's good. Yep.
I love Brogdon, aka El Presidente. Listen, man. In the preseason, he showed us a lot of his playmaking because it seemed like that's kind of where he was trying to get in, where he could fit in. But tonight, it was buckets. I think sometimes people, when they think about Malcolm Brogdon, I think he's just one of those underrated veterans who never gets his just due. He can score, he can defend, he can play make. I mean, he can do so many things, and I love the fact that when he's in that scoring mode and he's making plays, that allows Marcus Smart to be an absolute hellish demon defensively. Marcus looks so much. Even though he's the reigning defensive player of the year, I think he's actually going to be a better defender this year than he was last year because he doesn't have the weight of being a playmaker on his shoulders.
I think that's a big point, Sherrod, across the board. Everybody who's good at something, I felt like their job was a little easier tonight just because of all of the supporting cast around them. People had to do less so their talents could shine through in a way without being forced. As you said, Smart doesn't have to be the only guy flying around playing defense on the ball and being that catalyst because there's Brogdon there by his side. There's Derek White. They're all friggin' annoying. They can all harass people. They can all take their turns. They can all defend multiple positions. Grant, Tatum, Brown out there, I thought they did an awesome job on Embiid all night, harassing him high above the free throw line with quicker defenders, doubling him every time he kind of got anywhere near the basket, letting him take the outside stuff. He just didn't have a lot of clean opportunities to himself there. But defensively and offensively, having guys who can share the load. How nice is it when Tatum and Brown can be out there and be like, oh, I'm just going to let Malcolm Brogdon drive by guys and go to the basket and score. Like, that's an incredible luxury they didn't have last year. And again, that's what killed them last year, particularly offensively, is the burden was just too great for the Stars. And already in night one, it just seems like that's not going to be an issue this year.
Yeah, and if you look at Phil, and I'll be real quick, Jimmy. You look at Philadelphia, it's just the opposite. They clearly are not deep enough to hang with a team like Boston or Milwaukee, because the majority of their points comes from like 2 or 3 guys, and the rest of the guys are just sitting around. I thought PJ Tucker was god awful tonight. Joel Embiid is getting double teamed. He's swinging the ball to PJ. The Celtics don't even react. They're just like, go ahead, shoot it. And what does PJ do? He passes the ball to a guy that allows the Celtics to rotate defensively. You can't. Philadelphia's going to have. They look worse. Maybe they'll get better as the season progresses. But I thought their flaws really shined brightly tonight.
Yeah, and Embiid wasn't great. They defended him well, but I don't think he made good decisions. I don't think he was aggressive enough. I think he got into some stuff with Smart that kind of.
And he looked out of shape.
Yeah, and the conditioning, of course, as well there. To your point, John, though, that's my biggest takeaway from this game and the preseason so far. Stylistically, the way they played is they don't have the ball in Brown and Tatum's hands all the time. You even saw that back cut that essentially sealed the game from Smart to Tatum. You have them moving off ball. You have them beating guys up the floor with guards taking the ball up, and that has been a huge change as well. I think Smart sets a good tone taking the ball up, to Sherrod's point, and you also have Brogdon on the floor quite a bit. You have White, who I thought, despite the stats not looking good, had a tremendous game in terms of setting the table on a lot of different plays or doing some stuff off ball to free guys. This was just so easy for Tatum and Brown. And back to our original point to open the show that we were talking about, Sherrod, we haven't seen the game come to Brown and Tatum this easily. These wide open of looks, these shots close to the basket or ahead of the defense in transition. And that's what allows you to go 14-24 in Brown's case, 13-20 in Tatum's case. We're used to Tatum shooting like 45%. He was above 50% the whole night.
I want to say a couple of things. One, I agree with you guys. Anyone who watched the game would agree that on point tonight. And that was the biggest flaw with this Celtics team prior to the second half of last year, was that they all just looked like a bunch of individuals that weren't playing as a group, right? They weren't swinging the ball around. Everything was stagnant. Me and John were going on saying this might be the worst offense ever assembled. Tonight was completely different. And the other thing everyone was clamoring about last year is point Tatum. Oh yeah, let him handle the ball. He should be running the offense. No, he shouldn't be. What do we say? Don't take a player who's really good at something and try to make him good at something else. Play to his strength. With a guy like Brogdon out there and Marcus Smart at the same time, those players can play to their strengths, which is just being killers, which is being shooters, focusing on getting the ball, not focusing on running the offense and then, getting everybody into position and then forcing shots up. I mean, regardless of whether it was in transition or not, those guys were a lot more comfortable out there in the spots that they got their shots up in. And a lot of that has to do with just, the style of play tonight, having Brogdon out there, Marcus Smart doing his thing. I also got to say, I haven't been able to say anything about Marcus Smart. I just love the energy that he brought tonight. Him and Embiid going back and forth. I mean, that's a classic.
That was a great
Marcus Smart
moment.
Game. Getting Embiid just fired up. Embiid's the type of guy, I'm sure before the game, very easy to get Embiid fired up. And if you get him fired up, sometimes he gets a little reckless and he gets a little hectic out there and he gets off a little bit. So I thought Marcus Smart did a great job of that. And, was, even though he was a 5-point scorer, he still got his. He got to the line 8 times. So I love that what he was able to give them tonight. And I agree with you guys. I think having Brogdon out there is going to allow Marcus Smart to be that much more active on the defensive end and just kind of, again, play to his strengths a little bit more.
Very quickly before we transition into other topics, because there is a ton to talk about, I do have to give a quick shout out to our couple of sponsors, and we'll tell you more about these guys as the day goes on, as the show goes on. But Garden Report is brought to you, as always, by Athletic Greens, your one-stop shopping for 75 high-quality vitamins to help start your day right. Check out that promo code on the screen. You get some really good stuff if you purchase it using that code right there, athleticgreens.com/garden. Again, we'll tell you more about AG one a little later in the show. And of course, how could we forget about calm? We don't forget about calm. We promote calm. We talk about calm. We stay calm. And there's every reason to be calm after tonight's game. It's the #1 mental wellness app. Give you the tools to improve the way you feel. Again, massive discount if you use that promo code calm.com/garden. Receive 40% off a Calm premium subscription. And a new designed phenomenal t-shirt. The orders are rolling in. We are printing these things up. It looks slightly different than this one. It's a new design. We will be getting that out shortly. But again, we'll tell you more about these products a little bit later. We're going to continue on with the post-game show. And guys, I'm trying to find something to say that like, well, this wasn't great. But I mean, I don't know what you would even point out here. No, I'm saying like you look at it and like, I mean, what could you have possibly hoped for in a game where Al Horford First of all, Al Horford committed one actual foul tonight, first of all. I'm not going to get into bashing the refs, but those two fouls they gave on him to start. I know the landing zone thing on Harden. I still think it's bullshit, even if the TNT refs agreed with it. That's not a natural motion for Harden to jab his foot that far across the three-point line on that shot attempt. He's almost falling away there.
A lot of flopping around from him tonight.
A lot of flopping, but that's the game. Fine, he gets those calls. But you whistle two quick ones on Horford against this team, against Embiid, when you don't have Rob Williams at your disposal, and you have to break glass and go to Noah Vonleh, who did a really good job in his 20 minutes tonight. I know Noah's arc, the arc of his story. That's Jimmy's bold prediction but that's the type of game where you're like, you go in a game like this against a team with a dominant big and you lose Horford. This is where I thought they'd have some problems. Either Horford in foul trouble, Horford fatigued, Horford on back-to-backs, Horford having to get natural rest. How do you play that game against teams that have, I mean, again, there's not a lot of Embiids in the league, but people you have to contend with in the middle. And they did fine with what they did. And that's remarkable to me that they were able to kind of keep it together. They had to sit Horford from the 2-minute mark of the first quarter all the way into the second. Oh, Sherrod, you're muted. Sorry, buddy. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, the big thing about what Noah was able to do, and he just made the most of his opportunity. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. And that's unfortunately what he hasn't done elsewhere. He hasn't maximized his opportunities to get on the floor. We haven't really talked much about Grant, who I think Grant, listen, I mean, you talk about.
I'm glad you brought Grant up.
My goodness. I mean, remember, in the fourth quarter where Tyrese Maxey was just going crazy, getting any and every bucket he wanted to. And then they get in the jam and Grant Williams bails him out with that big shot, and that was huge.
I couldn't believe that shot. Dribbling around on the right wing, sets himself, pose up, and nails it. They found him well, too. That's where I thought Brogdon was great, cutting and then passing out of those cuts to Grant. Tatum found him, too. And all this different stuff, the experimenting we saw from Grant, playing off the dribble, attacking closeouts. Wasn't sure if it was going to continue into the regular season, but he flashed it. Sprinkled it across the game tonight, I'd say, and then has his usual effective 3-point shooting night. Stays on the perimeter, I think, where he's effective. Everybody kind of defended their spots well tonight, and he didn't have the toughest assignment at all times, but they switched a little bit too, so he ended up on the perimeter at times. A great showing from Grant. Looks like a guy who's saying, all right, no contract, look at me, do me.
And it's interesting. Yeah, go ahead, Sherrod.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to jump in real quick. I mean, we're looking for something just kind of, man, I hope that they get better at that area. Blake Griffin has got to figure out where the hell he's got to be on the floor. I mean, there was that one possession where Marcus is like saying, go over there. And Blake's like, and next thing
Blake's like, yo, I didn't know you were going to blame me.
Yeah. Right. It was like Blake in Brooklyn all over again when I saw that play.
Yeah. Watching Blake, and again, watching the rotation that they chose on their big man. Again, a piece of Bobby Manning died tonight that Luke Cornett was a DNP CD, right? Because you had Horford go out with 2 fouls and desperate need for tall people out there. And they're like, nah, we're riding with Noah and Blake. And that's what they did. And that was it. And also the Sam Hauser era might have been slightly exaggerated. The sharpshooting wing that was going to
didn't need him.
They didn't give him the ball. They didn't throw him the ball.
Sharpshooters out there.
They didn't throw him the ball.
I think Blake needs a few games to get act. We'll just leave it at that. I think.
You think so? You think a few games will do it, Jimmy?
A few games.
Tell the
will
truth,
be
Jimmy. No.
A few games off the
no.
bench, serviceable off the bench.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, John.
I don't think so. I think
gave them a few moments
he's a
in the
great
first
locker
half,
room
but
guy.
not
He's
much.
a great locker.
At best, he plays smart basketball. He didn't really tonight. I mean, right now is the worst of every Blake world. You know, it was not in game shape, not really able to contribute too much because he's physically limited, and really not even knowing what the hell he was doing out there. But again, that goes to show you how far down on the depth chart some other people are. And again, maybe Cornette's still working back on that ankle. I'm not just trying to beat on him and Bobby right now, but I just don't think that that's a direction that they want to go. They want to stay. Look, Griffin can't jump anymore, but they want to stay a little bit more versatile, a little bit more athletic. And I don't think Cornette really fits that bill. Doesn't mean he's not going to find some games where he can play, but that's what you got for your depth right now, and you're going to have to live with those guys. So Blake probably has to play his way into shape a little bit, because I think that's probably a sweet spot there. 8, 10, 12 minutes. That's what you're looking for out of him.
Exactly.
Fair enough, but if you say you're looking for that area to nitpick, John, it is that center position.
It's tough.
The fouls undermine Horford, and
they still survived
tonight,
which is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, but there'll be nights where that's probably a bigger issue. There'll be nights where maybe Vonleh doesn't have the best game. Griffin certainly wasn't at his best tonight. So I still think there's a shade of unreliability there at that position. They're still trying to figure some things out there, clearly. And Luke could still return to that fold down the line. Who knows how this goes with Vonleh.
But you didn't get but I mean, again, it wasn't like, look, all your problems look better when you shoot the way the Celtics shot today, but this wasn't the thing here. They didn't get beat up on the glass. That's usually games like this, when you shoot well and games stay close, it's usually because something like that happens, where you lost a turnover battle or you got just murdered on the offensive glass. And that didn't happen tonight. They were able to keep them at bay even without Horford necessarily. And Horford's not a beast of a rebounder either. Without Rob in there, that's going to be a problem. And Tatum was there all night
in that area.
Tatum was there all night, and we did say it'd have to be a team effort. But you did that with these guys, with the foul trouble that you had, and didn't get really destroyed here. That's really encouraging that they were able to do that, because it's, again, we talked about this before. Forget it. You can't play that way. It's not currently without Rob. It's just not in your DNA. So just play your style. I loved it out there when you've got Tatum, Brown, Brogdon, Smart. Oh, give me that all day. Those were great lineups. Just run that at people. That's a problem. Make them deal with you. Don't worry about throwing in guys just because they're tall enough to qualify for the center position. Just play your game. I loved what they did.
Mix and match. And you know what, Joe? I saw him coaching them up too. We talk about Brogdon's game. He hit a tough left-hander that he was going to his right, I think against Embiid, or maybe Tucker inside, goes back to his left. Embiid picked up that third foul, and they're down 1 going into a timeout, and Joe just lit them up in the huddle. I'm interested to see what he was saying to them at that point, but they were trying to figure out some stuff. And, you had some animated smart
who lit into who?
Joe lit into the team when they were down 1 at 58-57. Yeah, Embiid just picked up that foul. I believe it might have been after that Harden shot off the glass. So I don't know if they were talking about defensive rotations or whatever it was, but Joe came into the huddle and just let them have it. So you had that moment as well here tonight. You had Smart kind of coaching up guys on the sideline, and Horford, after that scuffle, brought the whole team together and kind of refocused everybody there. So definitely a very animated night from everybody too, in terms of communication and all that.
It was an intense game. I know it was opening night, but there was
good crowd.
Definitely, yeah. You guys tell me about the crowd. I'm sure it was great, but just from watching it on TV, the players were fired up on both sides. But the Celtics in general, you could tell this was a game that they didn't want to season. They wanted to come out, play for each other, probably play for Mazzulla, and show everybody that, yeah, they had a couple of tough breaks, a couple of tough weeks in the offseason here, but they are still a team that should be considered a top contender in the NBA. And again, it's one game. But I just loved what I saw out there from a team.
What did we have on the bike watch tonight?
Performance.
The bike is gone.
It's gone, huh?
Mm-hmm.
The bike is gone?
That's in the distant past. I might still be
Wow.
there. I'll check on my way down. I am gonna go report some post-game presses and such.
Walk by and see if the bike is there too, and then
I'll tweet it out.
Report back.
Yeah.
The bike was around, but Tatum was not on the bike. Noah Vonleh was spending some time on the bike.
Okay, that's all right.
I see.
We'll let Vonleh. Vonleh had 20
And
minutes tonight.
I believe Al spent some time on the bike too, I believe.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you
Blake
think
might need to do it. Blake might need to do it, but not to stay loose.
Blake's gonna be
He's got to get in shape.
Yeah, Blake needs to be part of his in-game routine.
Yeah, he needs some
you know.
high intensity interval training, Peloton rides. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And a playbook. Defensive
The
playbook. That would help too. Because that confused with Marcus Smart. I can't remember. I mean I'm watching it in the moment. I'm thinking what the hell is he doing? Marcus was probably thinking the same thing.
Sure.
But yeah,
You gotta give him a break.
I'm
Give him a break. Give him a couple.
I'm trying to shed the image of him in Brooklyn when Jayson Tatum put him through the rinse cycle over and over again, and then when he was done, it was like tag team wrestling where Jalen, you're in, your turn. I mean, it was.
Well, I mean,
I hope Blake is better. I hope he's better.
He was pouring sweat out of his eyeballs that last time we saw him in against Brooklyn. After 90 seconds.
Tears,
No, 90 seconds of action. And it was he tried really hard and he made a hustle play or two, and the announcers were Blake's doing well tonight. Then they cut to him and it was just a waterfall. And everyone
got to a point where you just kind of felt for him a little bit.
Is he okay?
Yeah.
They really need him that badly up here on the court right now. He's hoisting threes up that just had no business going anywhere near the rim.
Oh my goodness gracious!
But that's not going to be his role this year. That's not going to be his role this year. Provided everybody stays healthy. I want to ask you about is Vonleh.
Well, this is what we call a segue here. Okay.
All right.
So I got to use this opportunity.
All right.
I got to use this opportunity because we do want to tell you about Athletic Greens, and this is a renewed sponsor. And why is it a renewed sponsor, guys? Because of you.
Because of you, the people.
Because of you guys.
Because of these great greens.
You, honestly. Well, it's the people. It's really all about the people, Jimmy.
We're people. We're people.
It is.
People.
We're people. So we do want to tell you about Athletic Greens, but I got to put up the little graphic here because that's super important to it.
Athletic Greens, AG1, 75 vitamins, minerals, all the good stuff. It's going to get you through your day. You just wake up in the morning, scoop that powder into your glass, into your canteen there. Yeah, right. Just right into your mouth. You don't even need to mix with anything. It just goes down.
Just put it in your mouth.
And man, you can't get a better start to your day. Or you're gonna be hopping around. You're gonna be looking like the Boston Celtics out there tonight. You're gonna be running up and down the office if that's where you're heading there in the morning.
Yes, Jimmy's right about all of these things. Anyway, as we said about Athletic Greens, we all take it here on the Garden Report. We started taking it because of all of the good health benefits that it brings: gut health, more energy, optimized immune system. You don't want to take a zillion pills and supplements. Just grab this, boom, one scoop, cup of water, and you're done. It's diet friendly, lifestyle friendly. Doesn't matter what you're on right now. Keto, vegan, dairy free. You can take it. Virtually no sugar, no chemicals, no GMOs, nothing. Supports mental clarity, alertness. Supports better sleep quality and recovery. It's got thousands of 5-star reviews, endorsed by professional athletes and celebrities. So again,
bloggers.
Right now, professional bloggers, podcasters. So right now, time to reclaim your health. The sun just friggin' rose on me. Time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. We're basically talking about $3 a day here. It's really not a big deal, considering you're probably spending a ton more on that if you are
Considering you
piecemealing it
can't get
together.
anything for $3 right now, you should be happy it's only $3 a day. You know,
Nothing.
you can't get
Literally
anything for
nothing.
$3 right now.
A friggin' latte is like $7 now. So $3 a day.
A
All
salad
you need
is like $16.
I had a $14
Sorry, go on.
burrito tonight. What are we doing here?
Oh.
No need for a million different pills and
are we-
supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply, immune supporting vitamin D, and 5 free travel packs with your purchase. Just go to that website you see right there, athleticgreens.com/garden. That's the important part. athleticgreens.com/garden, and take ownership of your health. If you do that, we give you things. This phenomenal t-shirt. Yeah. What do you want to say?
No, I'll wait. I'll wait until
DM me a receipt and your shirt size and your address and your name, and I will send you out a shirt. What were you gonna say, Jimmy?
I was gonna say the bots are evolving. They are now showing up mid ad read, but I just want you to know I killed them while you were reading. So
okay, because sometimes when you try to kill them, you put them on the screen.
I didn't this time, Jimmy. You got to kill him, but you can't screw up this ad, or else we're gonna really be in trouble.
It's like when there's a lot of chat, trying to get those bots is like a game of operation. You know, like you're trying to not hit the sides. Like you got to get it perfect and extract that guy. Yeah. And you got to do it. I don't know. I'm out of stuff.
Like Tatum and Brown right there.
I'm out of stuff to say. I'm so floored by this. There's nothing not to like about it. I just want them to. You just want to see them play again and like repeat it. You want to see like, can they do this again here? Because it was so impressive. And we did our season preview and our bold predictions and lots of things. One of the general vibes that I think all of us agreed on was the offense was going to be the linchpin of this team, more so certainly in the early going than the defense. A lot of people predicted. I think Sherrod's bold prediction was that they'd have the top-rated offense in the NBA. I don't think that's ridiculous. No. I thought Jimmy and I were talking about it on a different show, thinking that the offense is going to be better than the defense overall this year, which is amazing considering they had a historically good defense last year. And I guess could again if Rob returns to full health. Now that you've added someone like Brogdon in there to also kind of work into that defensive mix, you're really looking at your top 8 players when Rob returns, able to play both sides of the ball extremely effectively. It's an incredibly formidable team again if you have that return to health. There's a story about Rob Williams today that's a little bit murky. We'll get into that a tad. I don't know that it changes the timetable on him much, but I think some people made a big deal about it. But I think you really got to get used to this lineup and this team and this style of play for a while as we wait for Rob to return and then see what he looks like. But just amazing offensive. I mean, what stood out to you the most, Sherrod, in terms of differences outside of pace of play here? I mean, and how this offense operated under Mazzulla versus Ime.
Well, I think that this offense, they played more aggressive. I thought offensively, and it wasn't as much dribble, ISO ball, get it to Jayson, 5 seconds on the clock, go. There was more diversity to their offense. Like Grant Williams is on the floor; he's the actual scoring threat. Brogdon, when he has the ball, threat. Marcus Smart, playmaking. It just seemed that they're making it much more complicated defensively.
They kept coming.
Yeah. And there wasn't like that typical lull. Because even though like in that stretch where they basically took everyone out except for Grant and Brogdon, they were still getting to their spots. Guys just weren't making shots, and that to me is the scary part because they have better shooters now. And as you pointed out, John, which I think is a really good point, everything this team does now because of the additions they've made is going to be easier. Marcus looks better out there. Jayson Tatum is getting. I couldn't believe how many open looks he got tonight. I mean, damn. The dude dropped damn near 30 points a year ago, and you're forgetting that he's out there. How the hell do you do that? I don't know how you do that, but Philly found a way. I think the biggest thing for me is just offensively, they're much more aggressive. They keep coming in waves, and there's just a different kind of edge about them offensively that I don't think was necessarily there last year.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. It's just
facts, my dog.
Yeah, I mean, it was different. It was different. I tweeted this late. I can't believe this is the team we were watching struggling to crack 90 a few months ago. It's just completely different, just a total metamorphosis. Over that.
Well,
It was
let's
unbelievable.
Brown and Tatum played unbelievable tonight. 70 points combined by the two. Are they going to average 70 points a game? No. So
yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Okay, fine. Maybe. As of right now, they are. I guess we can't.
They're both on Sherrod's fantasy league squad, so they damn sure better average 70 points.
You drafted them both.
I got Tatum with the 4th overall pick, and then I got Jayson in the freaking 4th round. Come on, are you kidding me? In a 10-player league, Jayson in the 4th round? That's a steal.
Huh. You must be drafting with some fans or something. I guess you don't.
Is Bobby in that league?
No.
Basketball fans.
Bobby's taking Cornette in round 2.
We don't want to talk about Sherrod's. We'll just stick to this basketball team. We do not want to talk.
They suck. They're absolute garbage.
You said it. I didn't. It's the only team that might be as bad as yours is Bobby's, and we're not going to talk about his team either. But anyways,
his team beat mine, so there you go.
I came really close to losing to Sherrod this week.
I know that should never happen.
That should not happen, but it almost did. It almost did. That would have been a tough one to swallow.
I wouldn't be surprised because I think he was the only one out of our predictions that to win the NBA Finals. I'll be honest. I had him. I did not have him going to the Finals.
I'm a little disappointed at the little letdown at the very end of the game because on the A-List podcast this week, I predicted the Celtics would win this game by double digits. And I was the only one that thought that they would win this thing going away. Keith Pompey of the Philadelphia Inquirer, we had him on the podcast this week, and he thought it would be a fairly close game. Gary Washburn, my good buddy, he thought it was going to be a close game. Kwani thought it would be fairly close. I'm like, hell no. Boston should win this thing going away. They should win this by double digits, and they should have. They're they're significantly better team than the Sixers. They're deeper.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they're.
I don't know. I don't think they're significantly better. I mean, I know they played better tonight, but listen, I mean, you have 3 really, really awesome players in Embiid, Maxey, and
Maxey's a good player. I would not say he's awesome. He's a good player,
but they do have some problems on the bench for sure. And so what's interesting is even though the Celtics are without Rob and obviously without Gallinari.
They're still deeper
for the year. They're still deeper because they have 8 guys they can trust, and then the drop off is really steep after that. But that was kind of the upshot of when you did have Gallinari and Rob. You're like, geez, this is a 10 deep team. That would have been something really impressive. The Sixers really, and as Sherrod pointed out, you're starting PJ Tucker, which I just don't know how many more teams are going to start PJ Tucker and expect more than what you're getting here. I know he has value, and I know he's that kind of glue guy. It's just 33 minutes a game from PJ Tucker, I think, is more than you want on a good team as a starter. And then beyond that, you've got Yang. Tybal played 10 seconds. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in and out in that late second possession for defense, offense, and that's it. And you did not have anything after that. You're playing Melton, and House. That's it. I was just shocked. That's not good. I mean, outside of Trez, who I think, and again, just played 11 minutes, but, can be a valuable contributor as a bench guy, I think can belong in rotation. They're not running really deep, and it definitely showed. I think the Celtics, what did you get
that deep either?
The deep, but that's the thing is
Brogdon, of course, but they're not running.
I mean,
deep.
You've got.
Come on.
No, not as, but again, you've got Brogdon and Grant. You feel you're trusting 7 guys. Philly's only trusting 4. When that's what I mean. And when you get Rob in there, you've really got 8. And it would have been 9 with Gallo. So I mean, you're trusting 7 guys in your rotation, all of whom can play exactly the style you want to play on both ends of the floor. And they play on a string together, and Philly doesn't have that. You had a great game out of Harden. Embiid was fine. Harris played pretty well. Maxey and Sparks.
Harris had a good start.
I mean, they got 90 out of those 4 guys, or more, and they got blown out.
They lost.
If I'm Philly, this game's gonna. I mean, again, you can chalk it up to just one game. If I'm Philly, this game would worry me a little bit. Like, so they didn't have Rob, and all of these things are kind of swirling around the team, and they looked like they were a different class of team than we were tonight, and that they did. The Celtics looked like a clearly better team than Philly tonight.
Yeah, and again, it didn't surprise me because I just don't believe in this Philly team. I just don't. I don't think they're deep enough. I don't think that their mid-level to back of the pack talent is any good. Now, at the front runners, absolutely. When you talk about Embiid, you talk about Harden. They're great and at the top of the mountain. But damn, beyond those 2-3 guys, and Maxey, who's a good player, not a great player, he's a good player. They're not very good because you don't know what you're going to get out of Harris, and you don't know what you're going to get with the other 4 or 5 guys on your roster that you were going to play in your rotation. They got some things to work out. Now,
And they got the Doc problem.
And they have the Doc problem. Yes.
The Sixers Twitter was already trying to fire Doc in the third quarter.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. He comes to Philly, and they've yet to get out of this conference semis. So that's not what you bring. That's not what he was brought there to do.
No.
First round success doesn't mean a damn thing to Sixers fan. He was brought there to, otherwise you might as well kept Brett Brown.
Yeah, I mean, Doc, I think at this point, Doc is, everyone kind of knows what Doc's going to give a team.
Nick
he
Gelso
goes to
super
teams that
chatting
have-
it right there.
Oh, wow.
Super
Thank you,
chat.
Nick.
$10. Thanks,
Thank
Nick.
you, Nick.
Anyone else?
Where's that go?
Huh? Right into your
Where's
pocket.
that go?
Directly into your pocket.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I better see it. I better see it go into my pocket.
Hey, I'm not stopping anyone else.
Doc,
They want to jump on that super chat. By all means, guys. Thank you very much. If you want to do that, thanks to Nick for the tip. Nick took in the game tonight.
Oh, Nick went
He did.
I heard he was here. I didn't see him, but I heard he was here.
with a press pass.
Yeah, with a real press pass.
Wow.
No, Jimmy, he snuck through the back door.
I
and
didn't know if he was going as a fan. I mean, Nick's a big fan too. I mean, he'd sit in the bleachers if maybe not the bleachers, but he'd sit in the loge for a game.
Yeah.
Anyways, I forgot what the hell I was gonna say, but thank you, Nick.
Sorry, my bad, Jimmy. If you get it back, you've got the floor.
It wasn't gonna be that good. It was gonna be about Doc.
Homeschool.
Actually, now that I think about it.
Homeschool fund.
There you go.
Thank you. Absolutely, I need a new backpack.
You don't need a backpack to go to homeschool, Jimmy.
We like to recreate. We like to recreate it so that I can go out in the real world.
Jimmy walks out the door and right back in the door.
Front door.
Ah, so glad to be back in school. Dude.
Oh, we got something from
Dirk. He's
Hey,
got nothing to say.
Dirk-
If you
Dirk's the
do
man.
it,
Dirk- wait.
If you
He's
do
late?
it, we pin your comment and we talk about it. That's the deal. But he had nothing to say. Dirk always has a lot to say, though. So his comments are always
true.
going to make it up on the screen, regardless.
That's true. It's a
Dirk,
good way to get
Dirk,
your
one of
comment.
our.
It's a good way to get us to talk about whatever point you want to make.
Oh yeah, you
If you
super
just want to
chat
say John, you're wrong
all the time.
about everything. We hate you and you're miserable. You can just super chat.
Yeah, just super chat it, John. You're the worst.
Hey,
Yeah, that's fine.
Sherrod,
Yeah.
what's his role going to be? 20 minutes tonight. You guys are just talking about the bench and the depth. This guy has barely been in the league the last couple of years. He makes the roster. He plays 20 minutes tonight. It seems like there's a real opportunity for him here. Whether it's in practice or preseason or tonight, that he could still offer 20 minutes worth of effective basketball on a night out basis.
I think for him, it's about making the most of his opportunities because he's never going to get the kind of minutes consistently here that he would want. I think John really characterized it perfectly. He's in case of an emergency, and the emergency was Al was having some issues out there, and they needed someone with some size. And no disrespect to Luke Cornett, but you're just not that dude. That's not your game. Noah, that is exactly his game. I mean, Noah.
That wasn't the matchup.
Yeah, I mean, in a few preseason games I saw him play, I mean, Noah's strong as hell. He's really strong, and does not mind mixing it up down there. And Joel, and he's the perfect guy to throw out there against a guy like Joel, because Joel, as you all know, is very physical, and you got to meet that force with force. And I thought Noah, for the most part, did a good job of doing what his job was. Which, remember, you got 6 fouls, dude.
Yeah.
Use as many of they as you
Yeah,
can.
more physical than
To
Luke, for
fit.
sure.
Yeah, because I think of Luke using his 6 fouls, and I think of a bunch of and ones. I think of Noah using his fouls, and I think of a couple free throws after you get your ass up after you got hit hard. Um, Joe, and
Right.
so I think Noah, he's in a great situation where he'll get a chance to, I think, up his value, but I don't see him being a 20-minute per guy with any kind of consistency because the minutes aren't going to be there, and even if they were there, I just don't think his game has that type of across the board appeal where he can help you for 20 minutes. He could tonight because of Joel. If there was no Joel Embiid, I don't think he plays much, if at all, tonight.
Probably not, and you're right.
Someone's got to play.
But you're
Luke.
right though. You might see. I don't think Luke. I think you just do smaller. You might see more Hauser minutes in there.
Right.
If you're not worried about a team that has size and physicality, then again, what do you have with Blake and Vonleh? Big bodies, thick guys, guys who can stand up to the pounding there, and that's kind of what you needed in this game. So I agree. I think Vonleh's kind of again in that. He and Blake might be in the 8, 10, 12-minute range, and then you'll kind of sprinkle in some minutes. There'll be games where Pritchard has some opportunities. There'll be games where Hauser plays more than 3 minutes. That's what I think would happen. But right now, I think, it'll
be matchup based.
It'll be matchup based. You still went 39 and 39 out of Tatum and Brown, and this is I'm not going to say a problem. It's a close game. It's opening night. You really want those guys around 35 minutes. So you have to start to learn to trust other lineups. And you probably do have to kind of, learn to live with it not being great all the time. I mean, one of the reasons they were this awesome is they played those guys 39 each. Smart played 36 minutes. I mean, and Brogdon was huge off the bench. But you definitely don't want to do that every single night, out of the gate. Because, I mean, it's just burnout.
I'll tell you what, though. These, guard heavy lineups and, going small is going to be something that I think we're going to see a lot more of. In the rest of the league, we're going to see it a lot more because of this no take fouls anymore, Sherrod. I mean, I don't think you were on the show when I mentioned it out the top, but that seems like it's going to be a game changer in the league. I mean, just putting a little bit more emphasis on defense on both sides. You get that defensive stop, and then you go out in transition. Now, whoever turned it over or whoever's getting back with you, they have to actually play actual defense now. And if you've got 3 guys running the court, Tatum, Brown, and Brogdon are Smart, or, player number 4 who's in there, forward or a guard, I mean, the odds of you scoring on that basket is going to be a lot higher than if you had 2 big men, running down the court on the other, at the back of the play.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely I wouldn't say a game changer, but definitely a game tweak that it's going to take guys some time to get used to. And I think we saw it in this game. Jaylen, he did what he's used to doing, and he just gave the guy a little nudge and got hit with that call. But if you saw later in the game, Philadelphia had opportunities to do that, and they didn't. They held back. And I think it's just going to take players some time to get used to the idea that if a guy gets ahead of you, you can't just foul him and stop play. It's just it's going to hurt. Yeah.
How many times I can have, right? I mean, that's what he used to do. Turn the ball over, and now, I'm not going to say liability, but certainly on the defensive end, that's going to allow for transition buckets. And you look at the stats: 24 fast break points for the Celtics. That's the biggest stat discrepancy that I can see tonight. From the two sides. And I'm sure Doc Rivers is going to say that exact thing, that, we didn't make the most of our turnovers. We didn't get out in transition. We weren't aggressive enough, and the Celtics were. I don't know what he said, but I imagine those things will come up.
We got another super chat. What's going on? Best ways to watch games out of market? Probably League Pass. Is that correct? He's in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Honest question.
Yeah, League Pass is probably your best bet.
Got to be your best bet.
Pass is the best legal way to watch it. I'm not going to tell you any other ways, but
I got one of those buddies who's got a link to everything. Just DM me. I'll send it to you. Literally every single fight, he's like, "Watch this.
I gotta
Click it really light, and then click it again, and it'll work." You know?
yeah. Blast through 4 pop-ups, hit back button, go forward
but
again.
you got to
quick.
tap it really light, or else it'll trigger like 85 pop-ups, and you have to do it on an iPad. You know? I'm like, all right, I love it.
Yeah, guy friend, you need it. You need one. I have one for Bruins actually.
Yeah. League Pass is definitely the best, but we're here all the time, recapping it after the game, so you can. It's almost as good as watching the game, right?
I would say it's up there.
I would say so.
Not tonight. Dirk just shared
after
with me a
losses,
video.
it's better.
Dirk just DM'd me a video. Nice little moment for Mazzulla, who got a round of applause in the locker room after the game, coming in on his first career win there. Celtics posted that. You guys might want to check it out. I'm not putting it up here because I don't want to deal with any copyright issues, but good moment for Joe there. Guy seemed cool, man.
Hey,
I don't know what to say. He seemed pretty cool all game.
Yeah, I mean, and this was a great game for him. One, he put his imprint on the game, calling the challenge or the early challenge, and just the way that the pace was clearly a faster pace than what we've seen under Ime, and that to me that's one of the big questions that this season, if they're going to have success, we're going to have to get answers to the one question pretty quickly. And what's the identity of this team under Joe? What is going to be their calling card? How are they going to carry themselves? We know that from the past they've got a lot of guys back from a team that was an elite defensive team, but clearly they can get buckets. They got guys who can go out there and get buckets. How much of a shift is there going to be in terms of what they've been in the past versus what they're going to be going forward? And Joe, I give him credit. Joe, I thought did a good job. I didn't think that he made any type of real clear, undeniable tactical screw-ups that had you thinking like, oh God, this guy, what the hell is he doing? He didn't have those moments, so good for him.
Yep. I'm going to throw up another super chat comment here. Why not? Because this is actually something we talked about a little bit on our preview show. Really mixed results. This one's from Remy. Remy, thanks a lot, buddy, and thanks for watching. On paper, how do we match up with Brooklyn currently with no Rob? And we talked about this in our season preview show. I don't think the Rob thing factors in as much against Brooklyn because they just don't really have any physically imposing bigs, though he is such a game changer just because he makes life harder for everybody. So Rob is a problem no matter which team it's against, but I don't think specifically Brooklyn. But as far as Brooklyn goes, I feel like you guys are both out on them, right? Like not taking them seriously, because the over-under, the Vegas has them in the 50-something win range, and like in that 2-3 seed conversation, a lot of experts were picking them, kind of in that 1 through 4 seed. So everyone's buying back in on Brooklyn. I don't think I'm there.
Stephen A. Smith, I think Stephen A. Smith predicted they're going to win the whole thing. I'm almost 100% sure I heard him say that. I had to do a double take, but I did hear him say that he predicted the Nets are going to be NBA Finals, going to the NBA Finals and going to win. I'm not there, but I think I said yesterday, John, like there's a part of me I'm very, very interested to see how the Nets do with Simmons back in the mix here. I don't think they're going to just be a mediocre team. I just feel like it's going to either go really well or really bad. I don't think Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are going to play 75 games and end up, floating around 500.
But they might just not be that good.
They are. Those players are good.
They are.
The players are good.
Superstar league. You need like 3 guys, and they have 3 guys.
But even with those 3 guys, you still have to have a supporting cast that has some type of chemistry, and that's the problem with Brooklyn. I'm not sure that their supporting cast is strong enough to supplement or augment, I should say, their core group. And look at Philadelphia. That's Philly's problem. They've got a great player in Joel. They've got a great player in James Harden, and they have a couple of pretty solid players. But as a whole, outside of their big 2, they don't really have. You don't get the sense that team is built to win a championship.
Let me.
And Celtics are.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I understand where you're coming from there, but
I tend to agree.
Let's not act like the Nets have nobody either. I mean, they've got Seth Curry, Joe Harris, Patty Mills. I mean, these are going Markieff Morris, their old friend. TJ Warren.
Those are just
Brings
names of people at this point,
Oh.
though.
Yeah.
They're are they at the peak of their NBA careers? As they contribute?
I agree with I agree with Kess here.
Would any of those names be a name that we would be happy to see on a Celtics roster? I would say, yeah, probably.
I agree here.
What?
I think that is a difference maker. Is the Celtics have the same? It's not, you're not looking at these teams and being like, I wish I had their star power. Celtics have their star power, but they also play a more complete game, and that's a difference. And it was evident, last year. And the Brooklyn series was far from a cakewalk, even though it was 4-0. They had to sweat out those first couple, but I mean, they're just a more complete team. And it showed. And I just don't know that Simmons makes enough of a difference there. We'll bring in George, another one of our pals from Australia. What's going on since day one of postgame? Just with a compliment. I like that. George has been here since day one. And for those of you new to the show, day one is basically back in the bubble when everybody was trapped in their houses and we had nothing to do and they were playing games in front of 0 fans. And we said, screw it. Let's just do postgame shows after every single game because we're all stuck at home and I feel like everybody needs it. Well, we felt like everybody needed it.
We had nothing else.
And it just kind of grew and grew into this. And here we are, Garden Report family, back for another season. So yes, George, good to have you. Good to have everybody else here.
Season 4?
Is it? No way. Last season felt like 3 years, right?
Oh, well,
is this the
last 3? Well, because we started it at the end of that season,
When did the pandemic start? 2000 what?
What year are we in even right
19?
now?
20. So we started it in 20,
started
right?
in 2020.
2020.
Mhm.
Yeah, but they did 2. We did I'm including the end of the first season because it was like the playoffs practically almost when we games and it was the playoffs. So then there was a second season, then there was last season, and now there's this season. What?
No, I think you're right.
Bots are going crazy. I am right.
Going bananas. Bots are going bananas.
I just blocked one.
So did I. Nice defense, Jimmy. Jimmy, we play defense.
Oh, I think we got the same one.
We got him?
Yeah, we play defense. Bots have been here, I would say, since last season, really. They came late to the party, but man, they found us.
All right, we got to tell you briefly before we shut down here, we'll try to welcome Bobby back, but sometimes he gets, he's looking for Luke right now, and we might not get him back. It is what it is. So we got to tell you about one of our other great sponsors again, Calm. This is a Jimmy special, so I'm going to let Jimmy take this one.
Calm. Yeah, calm.com/garden, everybody. You'll receive 40% off a Calm Premium subscription. If you don't know what Calm is, then you are missing out on a whole nother world of just relaxation, calmness, meditation, just we talked about our sponsor earlier. That's more of a physical health. This is more of a mental health. This is going to get you to fall asleep at night after a wild Celtics game. This is going to get you from the high that you're at, that you can't sleep, whether it's you're going to be fired up after a game. We do the show. We have to come down somehow. So we toss on the app. You've got music. You've got meditation. You've got just sounds. I just toss on the rain, crickets. You walk into my apartment, you think that I don't have a roof. I just put on the surround sound, toss asleep, good to go the next morning, toss, and that's it. Calm.com/garden. We give you guys a great deal, 40% off. Who knows how long we'll be alive for? It still is. And anybody who has taken advantage of it, I guarantee you is feeling a little bit better. Their mental is a little bit better than it was before.
We all do it, and I don't think there's actually a person who has started doing it that doesn't dig it. So everyone's like, "Oh, is it worth it?" It actually is worth it. Trust me. Check it out. It's a really good deal. The 40% off is terrific. Jimmy's always going to do with the crickets. That's good stuff.
This is it sounds like in my apartment. Surround sound. You walk in, you're like, "What's going on here?" It's just me. Deep breath in.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Deep breath out.
That's what he does. Guys, and again, we'll wait it out. If Bobby gets back, that's great. If not, we'll wrap it. But any final thoughts here? And again, I'm so struck by just how impressive this win was on both sides. I mean, we touched on Tatum a little bit, but like, it's not just a game that he shot well. This just felt like almost like an evolution, and that's saying a lot for a person who was first team All NBA last year. It just seemed easier, like it came more. It just everything was just it just flowed. It was natural. Like it's like there were so many stretches last year where it felt like he was pressing. And again, might have just been the burden of expectations or just simply not having the supporting cast. But everything felt harder for him. You know, you'd look up and he'd be like, I guess the stat line looks okay, but he was just either through the turnovers or through, smoking some bunnies or missing open threes. It just wasn't all clicking all the time. Of course, there were stretches, and again, he put together a great enough season to finish first team All NBA and 6th in the MVP voting. So it was a great season, and it looked that much better this year. And again, just one game, he just looked amazing tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought you were talking to Sherrod, but I agree with you completely. I mean, people get on us when we criticize these guys, but we criticize them when they, in our opinions, deserve to be criticized. At the same time, we praise them when they deserve to be praised. That goes for Jaylen Brown too. People say, "Oh, I'll stop with the Jaylen Brown slander." Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown tonight set the tone. And for the Celtics to go anywhere, doesn't matter how good their role players are, doesn't matter what the situation is with their center, with Tatum and Brown. And John, you talked about it. I mean, Tatum, it wasn't just the 35 points. It was the aggressiveness, grabbing boards, knowing that they need help from the forwards. They need help from pretty much every position if they want to be aggressive on the glass because they don't have that dominant, rebounding physical center right now. 4 assists. Whoa, what was that?
Is that a shotgun?
Somebody just die over there, Sherrod?
No, they're moving stuff around.
Bruins game on
Gang doing their
Thursday.
thing?
Bruins game on Thursday. And they're hitting the road, Miami and Orlando.
Bruins game on Thursday.
Yep.
Bruins had a tough one tonight.
That was
That was crazy. They're what, down 3, then tied up at 3, then down 6-3, and
Yeah.
what?
I think it was a 7-5 final.
A lot of offense.
A lot of offense.
Yeah, it was. That is how it happened. But,
That's crazy.
luckily, we had the Celtics tonight, but we took that L. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
Great start, setting the tone. I think that momentum to start the year. You didn't want to come out flat on opening night, and then you have to deal with all the questions
Right.
after the game.
No.
Because of just the Rob glaring weakness was there, or it's just a coaching issue. Are they overmatched? You're not going to get those questions because we see what they're capable of when they play, and what's more important, they see it. It took them how many months to see it, Sherrod? 3 months last year before they started to play this way.
It was crazy because and
now they're playing this way in game one. And you see it to believe it. A guy like Brogdon, I think, helps a lot too. Kind of, getting them in that mindset.
Yeah, and again, it's good to see them hit the ground running, to play close to their best. And there's lots of levels they can get to beyond this game. This was a good game, but they can be better than this, and they know that. But they're trying to figure out their roles, trying to figure out the identity, and trying to really figure out how can they take this moment and build on this going forward. And I think when you see them play Miami, who I think is a better team than Philly, to be honest, because Miami, there's some guys on that Miami team that can cause you problems. And as long as Eric Spoelstra is a head coach, I'm going to be afraid of his teams because he's that good.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for to me that's a nice natural progression with your team to see whether you've grown from game 1 to 2, because Miami's going to challenge you in a very different way, but you will be challenged.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing I wanted to talk about, and again, Miami's coming up this weekend, then Orlando, Friday, Saturday. Sherrod will be there. Bobby will be there. We'll be checking it out. This kind of weird, kind of hazy Rob report. It wasn't really a report as much as Shams was on a show and just started rambling. But one of the things he said is hopes to be back in the second half of the season. I think that kind of threw everybody in a tizzy. I really think the crux of the report was about a PRP injection and saying that like he could be back even as early as December, but they'll be cautious and yada, yada, yada. And then he ended it by saying hopes to be, and then he hopes to be back for the second half. And everyone grabbed onto that headline and I think went bananas. I don't think that's actually the story. I feel like the narrative around Rob was his timeline got pushed back. I don't think that's what was being reported today. I think it was just a detail in the course of his treatment. That being said, I don't think we're seeing Rob until 2023. And I think most of us are like, okay with that, right? I mean, that's kind of what you think is happening here.
Yeah. I'm not okay, but I accept it.
I'm not okay with it, but I mean, we've reconciled it. We've come to grips with it.
Yeah. I mean, if you get him back before the All-Star break, you're doing good. You should feel good. If you get him back before the break, I would much rather he take his sweet time and make sure that he's good to go so that when the playoffs roll around, you'll have him available. Even if he's got to shake off some rust. A rusty Rob is better than a lot of guys who are at peak condition physically. So it may take him a minute or two to kind of work his way back into shape, but I'm with the Celtics on this one. I think that they're taking the right course of making sure that they go to every, as far as they can go and not bringing him back too soon.
Well, I don't think they'll do that. I don't think that's. I mean, I know Rob did come back, pretty quickly at the end of last season, but I think historically he's been on this probably like slower end of recovery. So I think that they're not going to make that mistake, and they're going to definitely give him the time he needs. And again, if the Celtics can even play similar to how they played, that's going to give them even more reason to not rush him back because at that point you're in a solid position in the Eastern Conference, and like you said, Sherrod, you want to get him back. And again, once he gets back, you got to work your way into game shape again, right? You're not just going to go back and play 25 minutes a game. We're talking 12 minutes a game for a couple of weeks, slowly ramp back up. I hope that he can come back in enough time where he can ramp up to be effective in the playoffs. That would be best case.
That would be the goal.
We got another super chat.
We did?
We just did.
Where? That's
Marcus Tan.
All right, let's bring it up.
What's an SGD?
Huh?
What's 5 SGD mean?
I don't know.
Is that some kind of
Is that a currency?
Yeah, some sort of dollar.
People are going to start to get creative. They're going to exchange it to pesos, and they're going to give us 1,000, and we're not going to realize it, thinking it's a lot of money, and it's actually not.
Yeah, I think it's Singapore.
I'm going to have to look up.
Yeah.
We have fans in
Singapore.
Either way,
I'm joking. I'm joking. I don't really.
I think it's Singapore. We're deep enough now to run teams to the ground. So I agree with this, Marcus, to an extent. But the margin for error is really small. I mean, right now, an injury to any of the core 7
Singapore dollar
puts you way back, and that is a problem. Imagine an injury to Al Horford right now. You're probably going Golden State style.
Why do I want to imagine that right now?
I don't want to imagine. I'm saying is when everything is perfect, you can hold the line a little bit here. But again, the problem with the Celtics is that the drop off after their rotation, when they're fully healthy and they have their top 8, the drop is significant. Again, they're trying to talk us into Hauser minutes. I'm sure Hauser can come in there and shoot a little bit. And they're not going to be as afraid to play him this year as they were last year. I don't think you're counting on Sam Hauser as a 20-minute per game sort of guy coming off the bench. No. I just don't think it's a thing. I don't think you're counting on Blake or Vonleh as 20-minute guys, but that's what you'll be forced to do with any injuries. It gets thin fast. So yes, can they hold the line? Absolutely. Do you want to? Absolutely not. And yes, CLNS is global. Are you kidding? We're like Australia, Singapore. We're everywhere right now.
Philippines.
Nice.
China.
Yeah.
I think. Japan. By the way, I stand corrected. I guess this would be fine. So we'll take 1,000 pesos.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna need a currency calculator.
We need an exchange rate on the show. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll need that. So we are going to wrap it, but we do appreciate you guys hanging with us. Sherrod's there. He's, he's gonna put this one to bed at some point. Bobby's gonna have some stuff coming up on our YouTube channel. You can check it out with some game wraps. Of course, all of the post game sound is there as always. For those of you who have subscribed to the channel already, great. For those of you who haven't, you should. You'll be notified every time we go live if you hit the notifications button, and you'll also be available. You'll see all of our other Celtics podcast content on there, including the A-List podcast with Sherrod. He did one with his guy Keith Pompey in Philly.
Nice.
Previewing this matchup and kind of the Eastern Conference and what was going on there. Still a lot of relevant information in there, as well as Celtics Beat and Garden Report there. A-List podcast, Cedric Maxwell podcast, Winning Plays podcast with Brian Robb. A lot of good stuff. Goodman and Ryan and Tangway giving their scorching basketball takes. It's all there for you, so subscribe to our channel. One more time, quick shout out to our pals at Athletic Greens. Go to athleticgreens.com/garden. Free 1-year supply of vitamin D, 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. And of course, #1 health and wellness app, Calm. Go to calm.com/garden. 40% off a Calm premium subscription. You get either of these things, boom, phenomenal t-shirt. Just email me your receipt from your purchase, and we will send you a phenomenal t-shirt right away. Jimmy, you had one closing thought?
Yeah, we got one more super chat, and are we millionaires after this? This looks like a lot of money.
We did it.
This looks like a lot of money.
Our job is over.
I don't know what the IDR is. Maybe I should, but again, homeschool kicking in here. I'm gonna have to look this up and see if we just hit the jackpot or if
we're never working again.
I don't know. If we just hit the jackpot, I might not be on the next couple of shows. I'm gonna be spending here a little bit, but I didn't realize that I'm gonna have an exchange rate sheet right in front of me now from now on. I'm gonna need that.
It's not a lot. It's Indonesian.
No, it's not.
But
It's
we
like
appreciate we take everything.
Well, it doesn't matter how much it is, guys. It doesn't matter.
It's the thought that counts, right?
It's absolutely the thought that counts. We love it. We love all of you guys. Honestly, thank you. Don't want to seem like a beggar here. We really do appreciate it. It helps keep things afloat, helps us bring this content to you. So thank you for the super chats. Thanks for endorsing our sponsors. But thanks for watching us more than anything. We enjoy these shows. We like having you guys back. We like you guys in the chat. Good community here. We want to keep it going. Game 1 of 82. We'll have a million more. So thanks to everybody who hung out tonight.
We'll
see you guys.
more at least.
Yeah, 80, yeah, exactly. We'll at least we will see you guys on